Welcome back. It is 7:39. The American Cancer Society has eased its guidelines for mammograms, saying screen later and less often. Joining us to explain this change, a former president of the American Cancer Society, Dr. Phil Evans from UT Southwestern Medical Center. Thank you so much for being here this morning. The American Cancer Society now saying that women should get mammograms starting at age 45, not 40 years old. And I'm not sure how all women feel, but for me, this just seems confusing because we hear all the time, early detection is key, early detection is key. So why is the American Cancer Society now saying, no, just wait until you're 45?
Well, in the last 10 years or so, there's been more of a focus on the so-called harms associated with mammography, having to do with false positives, the chance of a false positive biopsy or a recall from screening. And what the American Cancer Society did was look at those harms, look at the benefits from screening, and decide that between the ages of 40 and 44, there's no question you can find breast cancer during that age group. But the amount of breast cancer that is found doesn't really balance with the number of harms that might occur. There are more false positives in that age group. So that's why they moved the age down to 45.
Okay. Now, each year, more than 200,000 women in the U.S. are diagnosed with breast cancer. With numbers like that, I guess what are the downsides to getting a mammogram? Why don't we have it every year like we have our pap smear done?
Well, part of the American Cancer Society guidelines that seems to be partly forgotten about this is they have allowed for women to have personal choice, personal preference in this. For instance, if you're a woman who really doesn't care about being recalled for breast cancer or a possible false positive examination and wants to maximize the benefits of screening, then begin at age 40. The American Cancer Society says that's right, you can do that, and all women should have the opportunity to do that, just like continuing every year after 55.
Okay, yeah, so that's what's changed with the 55 and older. Basically, they said after 55, now the guidelines are that you should do it every other year. And why is that?
Because the thing about 55 is that's about the time menopause occurs in most women.
Okay.
And at that time, the breasts tend to get less dense, and so it makes looking at a mammogram easier. And also, many breast cancers are less aggressive at that time. More aggressive breast cancers occur in women premenopausal. So putting that together makes it possible to do every other year.
Yeah.
My personal preference again would be every year after the age of 55.
Okay.
Because there still do aggressive breast cancers occur during that period of time.
You talked a lot about false positives and the fact that there's a lot of false positives. How is technology? Is it getting better? Are we going to see less of these false positives?
Well, mammography has improved so much over the years. And we now have digital mammography. We now have a method called tomosynthesis. The ACS guidelines really didn't address that specifically, but it is better, and the amount of false positives are probably coming down. But what happens is, false positives are considered harms in the guidelines, but it really turns out to be kind of an inconvenience more than anything else. True, it may produce anxiety or stress, but at the same time,
better to know.
A lot of people are like you, say better to be safe than sorry.
I'd rather know. Yeah, thank you so much for this. One other thing we should recommend, or we should mention, is that they're also recommending that the routine physical breast exams done by doctors, basically they're saying that those aren't necessary, but you think a lot of doctors are still going to wind up doing those just because they've been doing it for so long. So.
I would think so, and it's good to be able to find breast cancer on physical examination. Usually the size of it does not impact the mortality rates, and that's why it's not recommended.
Thank you so much, Doctor. We really appreciate it.